Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? This video is going to be a response to Jim81Jim, or Games Good Me Bad as he's going by now, because old channel got closed, I think. About his video in response to Kirk Cameron's little extremist movement, and, well, the whole issue behind it. And for those of you who don't know what's going on, I'm going to put several links in the description, one to Jim81Jim's video and one to Kirk Cameron's amazing video, both of which I have already watched, regarding the situation. But I will give it a brief explanation. Basically what the issue right now is, Kirk Cameron and his little religious extremist movement, and yes, Kirk Cameron is a religious extremist as far as I'm concerned. What he's doing right now is such an extremist movement, is not even funny. What he's doing now is that he and his little group are going to take The Origin of Species, which is Charles Darwin's original work in which he proposes the theory of evolution. They are going to take this book, this great work, this great intelligent, well thought out piece of literature, which unfortunately falls within the public domain, and redistribute it for free at, I believe according to Kirk Cameron, the top 50 college campuses throughout the United States. However, because it's public domain, what they're going to do is add a new introduction to the book, which is a 50-page essay by a friend of his, which apparently disproves everything Darwin said, as well as asserting that Darwin is, I believe, a racist, a sexist, and associated with Hitler. I have a real problem with this. I'm sorry. You do not take someone's written work, someone's well thought out, very intelligent, written work, and do that to it. Especially when the person is not alive to defend himself. Now, Jim81Jim is a well-known atheist on YouTube, and I gotta say I have a lot of respect for Jim81Jim for being so open with his atheism, because atheists, even nowadays, are still looked down upon in society. That's a unfortunate fact about the way the world works at this point in time. So I gotta say I respect Jim81Jim, you know, for being so open and very defensive with his beliefs. But Jim81Jim proposed an idea to combat Kirk Cameron and his amazing group of extremists. Jim81Jim's idea is to do the same thing to them what they are doing to us. We take the Bible, which is also in the public domain, and basically, you know, do the same thing. Disprove it. Maybe add an introduction, maybe add, you know, inserts in between the pages to disprove everything it's saying. Which, I gotta admit, is kind of a funny idea. But I think it's a horrible idea. I'm sorry, I can't sit idly by and let this idea go through, because I think this is a horrible, horrible, horrible way to deal with things. Here's why. Have you ever heard the expression, two wrongs don't make a right? Would that make us any better than them at this point? I mean, I'm not an atheist by any means, but I definitely don't agree with what Kirk Cameron and his group of extremists are saying. I don't think the Bible was meant to be taken literally at all. But we can't do this. See, this is what we call blatant hypocrisy. We are stooping to their level, is essentially what is going on here. Is that any way to deal with any problem at all? No, I don't think so. And besides that, I think the whole thing is very, very insulting to the Christians, who I do respect, because there are a lot of religious people in the world who I don't have a problem with. I only have a problem with religious people if they do one of two things. One, they force their beliefs on others. I hate when people force their beliefs on other people. I don't think that's right. And two, when they resort to underhanded trickery to try to get their point out there. And truth be told, I think that if you have to resort to underhandedness and you can't make a proper point by being blunt, honest, and calm about it, then I don't think your point is very good to begin with. And I understand the need to get back at these people for what they're doing. And I understand that this idea is kind of funny when you think about it, because I think it's a little bit hilarious. You know, it could be, you know, an entertaining piece to do, but I don't think it's right. But I do have an idea. See, Kirk Cameron, in his infinite wisdom, said two things during his video that I really couldn't take. The first thing he said was that when he was defending what they were doing, you know, with the whole, oh, it's in public domain, and he was explaining that, oh, well, all we are doing is presenting the other side of the issue. Which, if he ended the sentence there, I wouldn't have had a problem. But he didn't. He said, we are just presenting the opposing side of the issue and the correct side of the issue. I have a real problem with that. The reason I have a problem with what Kirk Cameron said is because he said it in a way that just came off as really smug to me. Yeah, we're correct, and everyone else is wrong but us. I'm sorry. I have no respect for someone who treats people like that. And then he said the thing that gave me my idea. He said, who's going to refuse a free copy of The Origin of the Species? Let's make sure they refuse a free copy of The Origin of the Species. Now, we don't have much time to pull this off, but we have the power of the internet at our disposal, as I'm sure you are well aware. I think, since, again, in his infinite wisdom, Kirk Cameron announced that he was going to distribute this book at the top 50 colleges throughout the United States. The top 50 colleges. So that narrows it down. What we can do is send a chain email out to these colleges. Send a message. Let the students and the faculty there know what these people are handing out. And encourage, not tell them not to accept it, but encourage them not to take this book after we explain what they have done to The Origin of the Species. Because if no one takes their little propaganda version of The Origin of the Species, then their entire plan is gone. Because if no one's taking their book, then their word isn't getting out there, and then it's not going to matter anymore. And I think it shows a much more higher level of intelligence by getting people to not take their book. Because my problem with them is not that they're presenting a different side of the issue. It's the way they're doing it. They're doing it underhandedly. They're resorting to cheap trickery to try to get their point across. And I think if you have to do that, as I said, your point is probably not very good to begin with. That's just my idea. No one has to stand by me on it. I was just throwing it out there. But if anyone's up for doing this, I'm up for it. Stay sane, everybody.